Okay, Sean, wide-ranging subject matter. Let's talk about what Scott Frost, some topics he touched on. One was some of the positions in need in terms of depth. What are some of the glaring weaknesses of this program at this point in March?
Well, I think on the offensive line, if you're starting on that side of the ball, they've got to get a center figured out, whether it's a Cam Jurgens, a Will Farniak. There's a number of players that will get looks for that position. And then they've got to figure out a guard, or could a Matt Farniak move inside to guard, and then could somebody else step up and be a tackle? I think it's about finding the best five. On the defensive side of the ball, it's pass rush. They really didn't sign an immediate impact newcomer, so you've got to kind of work with what you have. You got to hope that Tyron Ferguson takes a step forward. Maybe Alex Davis improves. Can the Davis brothers, can Darian Daniels give you a push on the edge? Somewhere on this team, they've got to get more production, Andy, on the pass rush this spring.
Running back, also a position of concern. Maurice Washington, his situation was addressed by Scott Frost, saying he's going to be limited in practice while his situation plays out. And there really wasn't much more that Scott Frost could say about the matter because it's still a thing in progress.
Yeah, we live in a world now, especially in the post-Penn State Baylor world, where head coaches really aren't allowed to be involved in these types of things. And Scott Frost gave an update today, on it, but that's really all I could say. And they're watching the situation very closely, paying close attention to the legal situation. But until they learn more on that end, it's hard to do anything to Maurice. And I honestly don't think having him away from the program would be good for anybody. I think for him, he needs to be a part of a day-to-day program and structure as well.
On the other side of the football, Javon Dewit, one of the Husker assistant coaches, linebackers, outside linebackers, he's dealing with throat cancer, and he's going to be a limited participant as he's battling something bigger than football.
Yeah, and Eric Chenander said, hey, you know what, I've known him for a long time. And I told him, football's not important right now. Go get done what you need to get done. It reminds you a little bit, Andy, of what happened in Omaha. Our friend Paul Lamaggi at Burke, he battled a similar type of a throat cancer type of issue where he went through the spring and the summer and then was able to return in August. I think in a perfect world, I'm sure a guy like DeWitt's hoping that he could shake this thing off over the summer, but you just never know. Medical issues are all different, and I know he wants to be out there with the guys as much as he can this spring, but Chenander and the other coaches are there to pick up the slack if he's going to be away.
Yeah, we certainly wish him and his family the best during this process. All right, Travis Fisher made a mention of it after Scott Frost spoke, and that his room, his defensive backs room, there's no cell phones allowed, and I thought that was a pretty interesting take, saying those 30 minutes when they're in the meeting room, that could lead to a national championship.
Yeah, a lot of checking text and Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
Sneak text, I heard.
The sneak text, yeah. So he wants to shut that down and keep the focus level of his guys. And Scott Frost and others were quick to say that's just a DB room thing. It's not an entire, years ago, Turner Gill did that at Kansas. They got a lot of negative publicity, just some of those types of policies. So I don't think Scott Frost wants to act like he's running that tight of a ship here in that sense where, guys can't do the things that they do every day. But Fisher, I think, must have saw something, Andy, that said, you know what, let's just 30 minutes, focus on this and let's put our phones away.
Yeah, and the players we talked to, Lamar Jackson, for one, say it's fine. If this is going to lead to wins, they're all for it, absolutely. And on the other side of the football, Adrian Martinez, a lot of attention being given to him. He's one of the Heisman frontrunners for the season coming in. Both Scott Frost, Mario Verduzco, and Adrian Martinez just kind of taking it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah, that's Adrian Martinez in a nutshell. He knows how to handle it. I mean, you think about him, Andy, he's a true sophomore. Really, he's in his true freshman year of college still. And for him to handle everything like he does, the poise, the confidence, always says the right thing, it's going to be fun to watch him the next few years. And, you hear people say this is a guy that may only be at Nebraska through his junior year. And, I don't think that's too far-fetched if he has 2 good seasons in a row.
And finally, you asked Scott Frost this about early enrollees and the benefit of getting to school early your second semester senior year. Wandale Robinson taking advantage of it, and the coaches that you spoke to, I spoke to, they were glowing about that kid.
Yeah, this is becoming the trend now. You have 7 high school guys that got here early, then Darian Daniels transferred. So 8 of your 27 scholarship guys here right now. And I think as the trend grows, you're going to see more and more guys do that. If your academics have to be in line. I mean, to get out of high school a semester early, you can't really have a bad semester or a bad grade. I mean,
you need a plan.
You need a plan in place, and so it takes a lot of work. This year we saw 3 kids in the state of Nebraska do it. But the big one is Wandale Robinson. We knew he was going to be a player, but just the early reports from day one, the winter workouts, it was hard for the coaches to kind of walk it back,
right?
Because they're
throttle down on them.
They're, I mean, Troy Walters goes, he is the real deal,
right?
And Scott Frost is always going to kind of keep a straight line, but Ryan Held, I mean, all these guys are, they're just so excited about Wandale and what he's already shown them in the limited amount of time they've had him.
Yeah, Wandale Robinson will play both wide receiver and running back as we move forward. 15 practices in all, leading up to the spring game that is Saturday, April the 13th.